Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like wanting to hear my take on marketing, but getting my POV on markers. Which, by the way, I favor chisel-tipped low-odor markers because 1, they glide with a velvety resistance, and 2, they deliver impeccably saturated lines. Of course, it all depends on what kind of whiteboard I'm writing on and if the glossiness is at a 60%.
Okay, Marcus, I think that's enough.
You wouldn't settle for just any marketing podcast, so don't settle for any insurance. Get the real deal. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Gayle, the movies are back.
Yes.
Hollywood is back.
Yes.
What a great summer. I just saw Spider-Man, A Brand New Day, phenomenal. Last week, I saw Odyssey, unbelievable. Like, back in my youth, in my college days, like right after college, early 20s, I would go to the movies every single weekend to see a new movie. Even if it was trash, it's like, whatever. It's like pizza. It's a movie. It's all good, But then, life starts to life and it occupies more time. So getting to the movie theater had increasingly got harder the older I got. The kids, more work, blah, blah, blah. But what a summer to be at the movies. I mean, the movies are on fire this year. Have you seen any movies this summer? Have you been going to the theater?
I have. I've seen a couple of movies in theater. I haven't seen the biggies yet. I've been oddly waiting for a rainy day, and that's my thing, right? Like the indoor activities, because I have so little time in summer to be in the outdoor activities. This year, we went to the theater and saw Project Hail Mary, before the hype. And it was just one of those, it was just a magical moment of remembering the power of just a beautiful, uplifting story. As so many of the movies that have come out in the last couple of years have been really heavy. And every once in a while, I think you need the fun, the Spider-Man, the let's just celebrate and laugh and have a good ride together. So that was my memorable movie moment of the year, was Project Hail Mary.
Well, apparently Gen Z is here for it. I mean, the numbers are out of this world. I think he said 87% of Gen Z saw a movie in theaters this past year. No wonder you got Toy Story, Spider-Man, Super Mario Brothers, The Odyssey, Michael. They've all passed the $1 billion mark. This is crazy to a worldwide box office. So as one would get excited, oh man, what was seen just a year ago as perhaps an industry on the ropes have now seen an industry sort of bounce back. So the question becomes, is this something that Gen Z has reimagined or has discovered as the new thing they want to get into? The better question is, what does this mean for marketers who have long been associated with the movie business? With that, of course, we've got some representation from the market to help illuminate our understanding. Brilliant minds from the University of Michigan, as we always do. We got Jumana and Tia with us to help us get an understanding of what's going on in the market. Ladies, thank you so much for being with us today. Welcome to Market Says.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as you know, we're talking about the movies, and the movies are on fire these days. I mean, the numbers are crazy. 92% of moviegoers say they prefer going to the movies with other people. 89% of Gen Z say they'd be interested in seeing non-movie content in theaters. Theaters are where it's happening. So before we sort of get into the nitty-gritty, I want you to start us from the very top. Before we get into the industry stuff, I want you to walk us through the last time you went to the movies. And I'm going to start with you, Tia. How did you go from we're not doing anything to we're going to the movies? I want to know who brought up the idea of going to the movies, where and when you decided to go see it, how long it was between when the idea began to germinate in your minds to actually becoming a ticket sale to you, button seat, popcorn in hand, drinking soda.
Definitely the last movie, the most recent one that I saw was the Spider-Man one, so I'm copying you here. I'm just obviously a fan, but it also happened that the idea had come to me so much that I really felt it was put in my face. So in terms of social media, that's all that was on my social media for, I would say, a month, for 1 month straight.
Was this organic conversations in social media, or were these ads as well?
Not as much ads. It was all organic, where it's people showing what they're seeing in New York. Spider-Man's running across Manhattan. There's the Spider-Man web across the Brooklyn Bridge. There's this discourse happening, and you just feel, I don't want FOMO, so you continue watching until your page, your algorithm's just full of it. So obviously I had to say, I'm going to see this movie, and I decided to go with my brother. We're also in New York at the time, so just kind of perfect timing. Didn't time it, but it was really great. Yeah.
The seed was planted in your mind that, like, I got to go
Yeah.
see this movie. You're
Yeah, a
in
while
New
ago.
York. Your brother's there too.
Yes.
Serendipity has befallen you both. How did you go about getting tickets? Because we know that they were sold out in
Yeah.
a lot of places. 3D. Like, I saw it in DeKalb, Illinois, which is a small little town,
Ooh,
an hour
it's so
outside
good.
of Chicago. I had to sit in the handicap seats
Yeah.
because the entire theater was sold out at 5:30
Yeah.
on a Saturday. So how did you go about getting tickets, knowing what theater you're going to go to? Walk us through the entire experience.
I was placing bets on different cinema sites. And so I told him to book on some and I'll book on others. So until the time had like launched where they released it, we immediately was like, whoever gets it first, we'll go with whoever. But it was a lot. It was like tabs on the laptops and all this. I knew it was going to be this bad. I knew it. It's because of 1 month of just in my face. I knew that everyone was going to go for the tickets on the day.
So this was like premeditated.
It was premeditated, yeah. And it was sold out within like few minutes.
Unbelievable.
Especially because it's in New York, but yeah, few minutes.
One of the things too, Marcus, since the days when we were seeing movies in college, there's a lot fewer theaters. I was reading recently, because moviegoing had declined, a lot of theaters shut. So there's actually fewer screens now, and the demand is coming back. So hopefully the supply will catch up with the demand.
And the expectation of movie theaters are through the roof. Like, people want seats that recline. They want it to feel like a lazy boy. They want their food delivered to them. I mean, when I grew up going to the movies, the floor was sticky. The seats were uncomfortable, but you're just there for the vibes, So,
Yeah.
like, to your point, the business was softening.
Yeah.
And the expectations were higher. If you're going to get me to go to the movies, I need more than just a seat and a screen. I want all these amenities. It makes it actually even harder for those other theaters to invest. So, all right, Giovanna, talk to us. The last movie you saw, what were the steps getting there? This is your first time on Market Says. So tell us what the market's saying.
Fair. So I normally movies are not like a huge draw for me. Like, I'll go because my friends are going, like because the group chat says. I'm less interested in what the market says, so to speak. But occasionally movies come out that I'm like really revved for. So Michael came out this year and I was stoked. And I have a really good friend who we do not watch the same movies at all. She loves horror and I do not. And I like texted her as soon as I found out this movie was coming out. I was like, oh my God, we can go to this together. So we like made plans. We went, we actually had our choice of seating in the theater because we went at 1:30 on a Saturday because we went as soon as we could go, basically. So yeah, that was it. There was a mutual connection. We both knew we would be interested in it. And it was exciting because it's the first movie we've actually ever gone to together. We've gone to the theater together, but she watched a horror movie and I watched something that was not horror.
That's not going to the movies together. That's not the spirit of going to the movie theater together. All right,
That's
so this is
carpooling.
interesting. Yeah, exactly. That's carpooling. Exactly. So this is really interesting. You aren't a moviegoer. You self-identify as someone who's not a big moviegoer, yet you went to go see this movie with the friends. There's a social aspect that Tia mentioned. What was the negotiation process for you? Because, you don't go to movies normally. Why Michael, of all the movies to go see? And why this friend of all the many friends that you have, knowing that there's typically this line of demarcation when it comes to your disposition with regards to the movies you take in?
That's a great question. So we enjoy hanging out, but we just don't have similar tastes. And so when this movie came out that we both knew that we would want to go to, like, we were very excited. And so it's kind of turned into a joke. We're like, oh my God, we found a movie to watch together.
Are you a Michael fan?
Yes. I mean, who
Yes.
is it? Come on.
You know what?
I
You
know.
would be surprised.
Yeah.
You know, my eldest daughter is Gen Alpha. A lot of her friends don't know Michael Jackson like that.
Ugh.
Now, my kids were raised on Michael Jackson. Like,
Yeah.
my youngest, she knows like the albums that she hears songs on. She's like, oh, that's from Victory. I know that's from the Victory Tour. Like, she's like
Hardcore.
there.
Yeah.
They're hardcore, because I'm a huge Michael fan. Not everyone is, but the fact
Yeah.
that you know him, this IP, therefore, sort of resonated with you from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't really need to watch any of the ads or anything like that. They were just like, oh, like, this movie's coming out and it's about Michael. And I was like, cool, I'll be there.
Yeah, if nothing else,
So-
there's going to be a great soundtrack.
Guaranteed.
Honestly, like, that's what the movie was, right? Like, the movie was essentially a glorified soundtrack. It was fantastic and it was fun, and it was fun to see Jafar, like, act as, you know, his uncle.
Mm.
He was terrific, too.
And it's not that I'm not a movie goer. Like, I go because I'm activated by friends, right? Like, usually what motivates me is like, there's like a thing to it. So it's not that I don't watch movies. It's just that I'm more motivated by like the social experience than I am about what the marketers are telling me to be interested in.
What you've hit on is exactly what Tia said, that like there's this social contract with a friend, like, hey, we're going to go see this, right? Because
Yeah.
we're both huge friends, or we're going to go see this because it's the only thing that we're able to see together because we haven't been able to historically. And Tia, you mentioned some of the activations around the Spider-Man movie. I guess I'm curious to know if you can by any way sort of decipher the attribution. Was it your knowledge of the franchise? How much that played a role in it? How much did the trailer play a role in it? How much did the social aspect play a role in it? How much did the advertising play a role in it? I know I'm asking you to be a
Yeah.
scientist here, but how would you carve up the percentage of influence that got you to the movie theater?
It definitely wasn't trailers. And I'll say that because I feel like when I was younger, I always used to watch trailers. But nowadays with social media, I don't even think I saw a single trailer for the Spider-Man. It was all organic, as I said before, like people talking about it. Also like friends in my social circle sending me things in regards to it. And it also was kind of the food and the consumption as well. So a lot of companies, they were hopped onto it. McDonald's was in on it. And Little Caesars, they even had their own Spider-Man pizza. So for me, it's just accumulation of companies also advertising for it, as well as organic social media posts on top of that, which had kind of built the anticipation to go see this movie. And that's why I was so keen on it. It was just because of all this, yeah.
So the marketing integrations helped increase your appetite, so to speak, to go see the movie.
Yeah.
It meant like it was a thing. It was part of culture, because that used to be a big deal. And I feel like it kind of stopped or dipped for a minute. And now I feel like the marketing integrations are back in a big, bold way.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear like you're seeing those, which is encouraging for those of us
Yeah.
on the marketing side of the table.
It was really cool because what I liked about what they did with the advertising, they had these not just billboards, but it was like 3D optical illusions. So this had created way more media attention because people started filming it, and it just gained way more popularity on media because people feel FOMO. People also think, is it real? Is it AI? Especially nowadays with AI. So it definitely caused a lot of discourse online. And I think that also brought attention to it.
I mean, here's where Byron Sharp feels validated. Like this is these distinctive brand assets are then proliferated such that there's high mental availability.
Yeah.
If everywhere I turn, there's some web slinging and there's Spider-Man this, Spider-Man that, and I've already expressed some interest in going to see Spider-Man, you go, I'm just going to go see it right now,
Yeah.
at the very least, with such a high volume of Spider-Man all over, it creates the sense that there's going to be some scarcity. That a lot of people
Yeah.
want to do this, therefore I need to act fast to get my ticket. So, Giovanna, talk to us about your attribution modeling with regards to what you were exposed to and ultimately influenced the ticket purchase.
Yeah, I think like I definitely saw a lot of interviews where there was a lot of focusing on Jafar and like what it was like for him to learn to speak and like, you know, carry the character of Michael and how they wanted him to be Michael, but also he had to earn it. And so there was this whole like training and what it was like when he like recreated Thriller. And so like it was really fun to watch kind of the lead up in that way.
Oh.
You know, you kind of got a chance to be in Jafar's shoes, like as he was talking to you about what it was like. I think anytime there's a way for folks to connect with the film, that activates people in a way that's different than just like you're being told or you're having a lot of stuff that's kind of sent your way. The Barbie movie, I think, did a great job of this because people could just participate by like making their store pink.
Barbiecore, they called it.
Yeah, exactly. Like anytime that you can kind of figure out a way to plug in where your audience can actually feel invested in the film as opposed to just being an audience, I think that is where it feels a little different.
So here's the interesting part, Gayle. Like you got Tia, who's like, hey, just the cacophony of like Spider-Man discourse heightened her want to go see this movie and ultimately move her. But Jemada talks about it. She's like, it's the breadcrumbing to the actual film because she was already invested. I'm like in the boat with you on that one because I love Michael. So as soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, I'm there. But you know what really got me? Is the discourse around the trailer. Someone said, if this movie starts with them playing human nature while the universal world is moving, he's like, I'm dead. I'm done. And I was like, oh, I could see that and feel that. So, I mean, it's like there's two different sides of this, at least in this conversation. There's the everyone talking about it raises my interest. And then it's like, because I'm already invested in the IP, when they breadcrumb me in through the marketing communication, it leads me to the same place. Are you feeling that too, Gayle?
You know, I actually was thinking about it in the almost the opposite way. To me, I think there's this moment happening that the breadcrumbs all add up to mass marketing. We're coming through this, like, the end of the digital era. We got into this hyper targeting, and we thought everything that wasn't hyper targeted was waste. And I think what we're feeling, particularly with these summer blockbuster movies, and Jumana, you said it, right? You go into your local stores, your local shops in town, and they're part of the phenomenon of a Barbie or a Spider-Man. Like, it becomes mass versus like it's these little carefully placed like teasers, right? It's a summer phenomenon, and we all get to be part of something. And I think we've been missing that in this hyper-targeted digital era, right? And like things that used to be shared culture became my culture and my moment in my time. And I had all this control, but I didn't have any fun. There was no one to share it with. I'd love to hear more about like, is part of the allure or part of the draw the shared human experience? Talk to me about the trade-offs. Why do you go to the theater, spend more?
It's really 50-50. And majority of the time when I do go theater, it is with someone. And it's mostly is with my friends. I'm friends with these people who are like cinephiles. I was not as much until I got into the group. It was a lot. And they really like judged my taste in movies, but we're good now, I guess. With them, they take it very seriously. So even when we do movie night at home, it's us cooking for each other. It's us setting up projectors. So we host at each other's houses and everything. So it's more of like a community thing. And when it comes to serious movies, we tend to watch it in cinemas. Whereas comedies or some things that we want to comment on is definitely going to be at home. I have noticed that, yes. So.
Interesting.
I imagine like some of this is, be able to experience with other people, but also being able to engage in the conversations after the fact. But I feel like the media windows are so small that when a tipping point is reached, across the chasm of the population have gone to go see a thing, you cannot help but run into those conversations. And if you're the one be like, I haven't seen it yet, people go, really? What are you doing? What do you mean? Like, you haven't seen the Odyssey yet? Talk to us a little bit about I know you're not a big movie goer. What's the thing that makes it worth going to the movies?
I think that Tia hit it on the head. Like, it's worth going when you're going with like a group and the group is activated to go. My friends do go to movies, but we also do a lot of movies at home. And it just depends what's showing. But it's definitely like the social experience. Like, we are not going to go to the movies and then go home. Like, we go have dinner, like we'll walk around town, we'll talk about it. It's part of the like hangout. It's not the final destination. It's part of the experience overall. And definitely like talking about it is part of it, whether or not we're at home and we're like, oh my gosh, like that was so funny, or if you're out, on the town and talking about it afterwards. Either way, the experience is the same. Sometimes it's just like what is showing, what options you have in the theater versus at home.
Now, here's the interesting part for me. 80% of the movies I see in the theater, I watch by myself.
Ah.
Now, mind you, I love horror movies. My wife does not. So, I end up going solo. Now, here's the interesting part. Here's the social part that I think is interesting. As soon as the movie is over, I immediately go to the blogs or go to Reddit to see what the discourse is. Like, how do people talk about it? What did they break down? What did they see? So there is still sort of this social interaction. And the social part really gets my attention because of all the new advertising partnerships. Interestingly, Rotten Tomatoes has become like a massive part of the marketing communications. Are you all being swayed by that, Tia, Jemiah? Are you like, when you hear the Rotten Tomato score, are you like, ooh, this must be good?
No,
No,
not at all.
not at all.
Interesting. So it's the friend group, right?
Yeah, it's my friend group. And I would say we're all on Letterboxd. If you know, Letterboxd is where you plug in your movies. What do you like? What do you dislike? And you rank it out of 5. After movies, we tend to go on it immediately. And we're saying, okay, what's your Letterboxd ranking, And I feel like I have watched movies that have actually a really low Rotten Tomatoes like ranking. But to me, they are phenomenal. It's amazing. And I always felt that ones that have the highest score, maybe it's the critics and how they view the movie in comparison to how I maybe feel about the movie. Instead, maybe they're viewing it on like cinematography. But to me, it's how I feel about it. So I never thought that their review was kind of valid.
Do you trust the audience score, though, on Rotten Tomatoes?
No.
It's funny because back in the day, right, it was always like household name critics, 2 thumbs up,
Yes.
Siskel and Ebert back in our day, and right, and they had so much power over the industry, and so it feels like between Rotten Tomatoes, popcorn scores, and now I love that Letterboxd is come into, and it gives you a focused place, like you don't have to go search Reddit and all. You actually know like the people who are going there and rating are people who probably care about movies by definition.
Yeah.
And it's still a social negotiation. Like, even if it's the audience score or Letterboxd, it's a social conversation that's happening. This was my experience. And out of that, it's informing sort of whether you go see the movie or not. Now, the question I would have in my head if I were an advertiser listening to this is, to what degree do we evaluate the brands that are participating in the advertising? Let's just say if it's Mario Brothers and they're doing it with Arby's as opposed to Burger King, are you like, ooh, Arby's and Mario, I'm there? Or does it not even matter to you the brand that's actually doing the engagement with this movie franchise?
I think it depends on if you like already have some sort of affiliation with the brand, or if it's a really clever kind of thing that makes you excited about it. Like, was it Applebee's that did the Wicked drinks?
It was Chili's.
That was really fun. And that was, again, something that like people could participate in and they like plugged into. I think you have to be like already a fan to be activated, or it has to be something fun that you can plug into socially with people, is my take.
So, Tia, when you saw the Spider-Man pizza at Little Caesars, were you like, oh, because it's Little Caesars, I'm into this? But if it were Pizza Hut, would you be like, nah, I'm straight?
I think so. I love Little Caesars, and I think it made sense. They even had Peter Parker ate the Little Caesars pizza. So I think it made more sense. I don't think it would have worked with Pizza Hut.
No, it's super interesting, right? Because it's, like it's the Byron Sharp thing too. One more like purchase occasion, even from a loyal customer, because Spider-Man put that in your head is awesome. And the other thing I think, Jumana, you mentioned, and we were talking about in our prep for this episode too, was you're not just picking a movie, right? You're picking a Friday night, and it becomes this bigger excuse to get together. So I love that movies are becoming social. Whereas like in maybe our generation, when we went to the movies, they weren't as social because it was like, you're quiet and you're not talking. Now we're like, the movie gives you the theme of the night, right? It gives you the shared experience, and it gives you like the thing you can talk about later at drinks or dinner or whatever.
Yeah, it's a shared screen. Everyone's putting their screens away and they're sharing the screen.
Mm.
So to your point, Gail, when we were kids, there was a dollar theater in my hometown. It was such a great like adolescent experience where like you'd go to the mall, there'd be a dollar theater, you'd like watch the movie, you'd walk around the mall. Like I still think it was not a great idea that they took it out.
Well, I think there's room for a lot of these things to come back because clearly we're seeing a new generation with more demand for seeing movies with other people in real life, which it's exciting.
Absolutely. And I think there is a shared experience with that, right? And Atia, I mean, feel free to jump in here, but we did this when we were kids too, right? Like we'd like watch whatever princess movie and then we'd like talk about it afterwards, be like, oh my gosh, like, or the songs.
Oh, I love the Barbie princess movies as well. Those are my favorite.
But there's something interesting you said here, Jemana, that like it's a death to second screen. So while not only is it an engaged moment for you, the person, it feels like a synchronous experience that you're doing with other people as well, which essentially is why sports is still the number one thing that's viewed at home because I'm watching it with people, even if those other people are in the room with me or I want to talk about it tomorrow. I have to be a part of it in that moment. There's that ephemerality I think is really, really powerful. But what we haven't talked about yet, the people in the movies, are they bringing you to the movies? Are you like, oh, I got to see Matt Damon. I got to see Anne Hathaway. Do you feel like that's playing a big role in this draw? Or is it really like the IP and your friends and the broader sort of cultural zeitgeist that seems to be pushing you that way?
I think it depends because there is usually some sort of theme associated with some sort of person. Like you've seen, whether you really like Anne Hathaway movies, which I do, like I tend to like the stuff that she puts out. I tend to enjoy them. And so like, it's usually a good bet. If I go to an Anne Hathaway movie, I will probably enjoy it. There are some other actors who are like, it's hit or miss. It just kind of depends on like what the rest of the story is. And if there's kind of like an entry point, I will watch like an adventure or an action movie. Like I don't have a problem with them, but they're not like my first choice. But I like learned who Chris Evans was as like an actor personally in a not action movie. I loved him in Gifted. So now he's kind of like on my radar in that way.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like wanting to listen to brilliant young marketing students drop insights on everything from music to gaming, but instead, you get a bunch of Gen X industry long haulers reading from their lengthy thought piece that they posted on their favorite B2B social channels this morning. This format is different from any other marketing podcast because we get to hear from the market about how things actually are. And together, you get our context with their perspective. You wouldn't settle for just any old marketing insights, so don't settle for any insurance. Get the real deal. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Now dig this. Of the top 10 movies so far this year, only 3 of them are not IP that already existed. So Backrooms, Obsession, and Project Hail Mary, the only 3 out of the 10 movies that were sort of new IP.
Yeah.
To some degree or another, we can't even say that like those individuals themselves are bringing folks to the movie theater. They're probably, icing on the cake, if you will. But these IP people are already connected to Jemana's earlier point, and so many people are talking about each one of these movies, and therefore people felt this push to go. But you've got some IP that we know about, like Masters of the Universe, with people who we know about who are in those movies, but yet they failed. Like, I think Masters of the Universe did $50 million, which is so below expectations.
Given the IP and the awareness and all of the things. The marketing was there and the hype was there in the beginning. And, having worked with a bunch of studios and stuff over time, they all still say like that opening weekend makes or breaks movies, right? So it's a huge marketing challenge to be a movie company because in a matter of days, like the buzz can die and the vibe can be over. And, then trying to convince people to come can be almost impossible.
But that's the social factor too, right? Like if a lot of people go see it the first week, then more people are more likely talking about it. And therefore you feel like I got to be there or it might be worth checking out. And if it lives and dies by that first week, you need a lot of people to show up there.
Yeah.
It may just be like everything, a little bit is timing. Timing is such an important part of marketing.
Yeah.
I think that Obsession really benefited from the timing of the market because there were so many horror movies that came out right at that time that it just made for a really good story. So as we get to the end of this episode, I have a few questions before we get to our rapid response section. So say, Tia Jumana, that you have $100 million. You're a movie studio. You have $100 million to promote a movie. What would you do with those dollars? How would you ensure that, A, people are invested in it, to your point, Jumana, earlier, that it feels like everybody's talking about it? What are you doing as the CMO, fill in the blank, movie studio responsible for getting butts in seat that first week the movie drops? $100 million, go. What do you do with that budget?
I think I would spend it in creating opportunity for people to participate, whether that's like interviews or whether that's seeing it through the lens of like other folks. I'm less persuaded by like ads than I am by, again, just like the opportunity to participate in something. And so if there's opportunities to engage, whether that's like buy pink lemonade or whatever, like that's fun. Like it's a fun thing to be able to do. Like, you know, people wore pink going to the theaters. Like there's opportunity to do fun things that allow people to kind of plug into it. And so I think that I would spend it more on that than I would on just like the ad after ad after ad, which honestly just becomes noise.
Yeah.
Like I just really swipe past it. Like I get it and I'm like, okay, swipe. The minute I see like an ad pop up in the bottom, I am no longer interested because you're paying money to tell me that I want this thing and I'm not interested in that.
You've already made your decision.
Yeah, but I am interested in like what people are saying, right? Whether that's on Reddit or whether that's like friend groups or whether that's what people are talking about at work. It feels different when it's like organic conversation. Actually, Gayle, you said this someone earlier, but I think that's the difference, right? Like before with the critics, that was the only lens you had into knowing kind of what to expect from the movie. But now you have the internet, which opens up a whole different world than just, you know, it's 1998 and I'm going to Blockbuster and I have to make a decision from, you know, the videos that are available to me.
Oh, what good days those were.
They were great. But like, you know, again, the data points were different. And so now the data points are, you can kind of tap into what people are saying.
Well, it leads to one of our care, don't care questions, Marcus, right? Which is the movies nominated for an Oscar. Care, don't care.
Oh, don't care. No.
I think it's also different if there's something that like is organic, like it's like this indie film and like people have popularized it and then it gets recognition. I think that's a little different because people are then excited to kind of see it get acclaim that they feel it deserves. Like, because then it's kind of the people's choice as opposed to like, again, just it being like the Oscar awards.
All right, so care, don't care. Does the director matter? So if it's a new movie by Christopher Nolan or a new movie by Jordan Peele, new movie by Quentin Tarantino, is that going to get you going like, oh, I got to go see this movie? Care, don't care.
Care, yes, care. I love Quentin.
He's the best.
All of his movies are the best. And also Christopher Nolan. So I do care.
I feel like it is a care, but it's a care only if those people have their own brand. Like when you say Tarantino, everyone knows what you're going to get with that film or Christopher Nolan or whoever. But like sometimes the names just don't mean anything to people because maybe they're really broad or different or they just don't resonate. They don't have their own brand. So
that's why everybody went to from the creator of blank, from the director of, you don't know him or her, but you know this movie.
Yeah.
Right. So if I say to you, Jumana, Eli Roth has a new movie coming out, you don't care. Yeah. So brand matters, right?
Brand matters.
Brand matters.
Yeah.
So to that end, sort of the opposite side of that, what about the movie house or the studio it comes from? For say Universal Pictures has a new movie coming out or A24 has a new movie coming out. Care, don't care.
Care.
It also depends. Like A24 has a brand, like Disney has a brand, right? But like some of the other ones, like they do so many movies that you're like, it doesn't tell me what I'm going to be watching necessarily.
Yeah, because they're in every genre, right? If it's a brand that's known for kind of indie or something like versus a brand that does horror and does rom-coms and dramas and all the things. Yeah, it's harder to build a brand. It's the same with brands, right? It's hard if you sell a lot of different products for that brand to have real meaning with people.
Its own identity,
Yeah.
So as we close out, I'm going to ask one last question. This is not the rapid fire series, just one last question for you two. If you were looking your crystal ball, you're going to play the role of a soothsayer, right? You're going to look in the future. What does the future of movies look like a year from now? When we're back on Market Says season 2, and we're talking about where we are with movies relative to where we were this summer. It's the summer 2027. What's the future look like for movies?
I think it's going big. And in terms of marketing, I think it's going to be even more seamless where we don't even realize it's an advert or it's going to be so among us that we have no clue who's a person among us and who's a marketer because it's going to be so unidentifiable.
I agree. I think there's a lot more tapping into kind of the people who have their own niche followings. And a lot of people really enjoy following what the discourse is on social media. And so I think that we're going to see a lot more of that.
I love this. And I guess I kind of concur. Like, I love this, the language you use there, Tia, that they're among us. That at the end of the day, if I kind of pull a red thread across this entire conversation, at the end of it all, it's really about us. It's about the people, our people, and our proclivity to go see a movie, to make the extra effort, to take the ferry, ride the bike today versus back in the day when Gayle would go see her indie movie. It's really predicated on our people doing it. And considering the technologies today provide far more means for us to engage with our people, we expect the same thing from the content that we consume. And for me, I suppose that idea of like death to second screen really is all about life to more synchronous social experiences.
More social experiences, right? I love this idea of people are going back to the movies. I love seeing a generation that's getting excited about movies again in a big way, because I think we lost the thread on why movies were so amazing.
Yeah.
And I think you guys are, I think you're rediscovering that it got you out of your head. It was the put all the other thoughts away. Now the thoughts are on a screen, but sometimes they're just in your head, and it's an escape. Right. And I think, life is intense and we're moving at a crazy speed. And, I think as a society, we need these great, fun, healthy escapes and getting out of your head and going on a, flinging webs around Manhattan or, riding back in time in the Odyssey or whatever it is. I think we're seeing that like Gen Z, you're craving the both human and social connection with your friends. And that little bit of escapism and fun that you can have for the price of a movie ticket. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it's almost not even about like the content itself. It's just an excuse to get together. It's just a catalyst for us to be connected. I absolutely love that.
A bad movie could make for a great night out.
Well, it's like pizza. There's no such thing as bad pizza. Even if the pizza's bad, it's all good. Giovanna, Tia, thank you so very much for being with us and letting us in on what the market says. Gayle, I've always felt this smarter. I have always do this. This show never fails. It never fails.
I think sometimes it's so easy as like a Gen Xer to judge behaviors we don't understand. One of the things I love about this particular episode, I'm not sure I'm going to go wait in line. I haven't gone and bought a really expensive water bottle. However, Gen X and Gen Z, I think we have some alignment here on the power of movies in the theaters. So I'm encouraged by that. And hopefully we can get together in real life and go see a movie.
Amen. I love it. Thank you so very much for everyone joining us for Market Says. We'll see you in our next episode. Take it easy. Peace.
Market Says is a Bubbler Media iHeart podcast production. If you're not in the conversation, you're not in the game.